Just a few boneheaded walking, talking
Grotesque.
Neanderthals.
How much cookie cake is gluttony with cookie cake. I don't want to do it, but I have to.
I kind of understand.
I don't think there's a greater joy. Like, it's my meth. The amount of serotonin release when I eat a piece of cookie cake. If somebody did a brain scan, they would be like, that is somebody on hardcore narcotics. And then you'd be like, no, that's just him eating cookie cake. And they'd be like, no fucking way. And I'd be like, yep, see, look, and it's just me eating cookie cake. And be like, oh my God, that kid is straight up addicted to cookie cake. He needs help.
That's
And,
I don't. You should kick the habit at that point.
Well, I am in my cookie cake is for special occasions, and I don't have it very often.
Hello, Caleb.
But
I just missed your phone call.
It's okay. I just wanted to let you know that we're doing the podcast right now, and we would love it if you joined us. But you don't have to. But we would love it.
Oh,
love?
well, I gotta go get food before I can't get any food, and then I'll be back.
I don't know what he's
Did you just
saying.
say you have to go get food, but you can't get any food, and then you'll be back?
No, I said I'm going to go get food before I can't get any food,
Oh.
He's getting.
and then I will be back.
Okay. Okay.
He's gonna be back in like 3 years.
Well, we'll see you in a couple hours then. Okay. Love you.
All right. Peace.
You're really throwing that love around. That's a really just throwing that word around him.
Listen, sometimes you
What?
just gotta. It's like L, but not capital. You know what I'm saying?
It's like God, but not capital.
Yeah, it's lowercase g.
Yeah. Lowercase O. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's like stronger than like, but
Yeah.
not quite real love.
What is love? It's
See,
like,
I
yeah.
feel big L love for cookie cake.
And that is a problem.
Although, is it love if you're addicted to something, or is that just infatuation?
Lust, maybe.
Like you think, yeah, like lust. Because I don't think meth heads love meth. Like, I don't know. Maybe they do love meth.
I think maybe they start off loving meth, and then it eventually just becomes this feeling they have to chase after.
Ooh, okay. That is a good observation. I would say that is how I feel about cookie cake. If cookie cake is in my vicinity, I am going to eat too much of it. I just know it already.
You know what I'm gonna do to you? It won't work now because I'm telling you.
What?
I'm gonna poison the cookie cake. So
Well, fuck me. All right, you're just gonna kill me.
No, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm gonna poison
Oh,
it
like-
so it like makes you vomit, and you're never gonna want cookie cake.
Oh,
again.
dude, I would just think that's a bad cookie cake, and the next one will be better.
I'm just gonna do it to every cookie cake. I'm just gonna offer you cookie cakes. Eventually, you'll be like, I'm not taking any cookie cakes from you, Jake. I want a cookie cake that I buy.
Especially now that you've announced the plan, I'm never taking a cookie cake from you ever.
That's what I said. I said now it's not gonna work because I'm telling you.
Yeah, so yeah, that's bullshit plan. You should have kept that to yourself, and then later on.
Do you want that to
told me.
happen to you?
No, I just
Are you sure?
honestly, I don't think I want anything to change. Cookie cake is a once in a while occasion, and I might as well, if that's my favorite thing, might as well just go all out. It's not like I'm an actual addict where every day I'm eating cookie cake and I'm like, I have to have it. I'm just so in love with cookie cake that when it's available, I will eat it to the point of getting sick, like today and yesterday.
Well, it is what it is. I
So
guess.
the idea here is I just can't have it that often. If I'm getting cookie cake regularly, then that's an issue because I'll be 400 pounds and I will die.
True.
But
You might
getting
not even make it
around
to
that.
the 400 pounds.
yeah, I'll probably die before I get to the 400 pounds. There's so much goddamn sugar. I can feel my arteries like clogging and the insulin being released while I'm eating it. It's kind of absurd how much cookie cake I'm eating when it's available. Like I ate there was a quarter of the cake left, and I probably ate 3/4 of the cake.
That is crazy.
If you struggle to lose,
Oh
So
my
anyway,
gosh.
I don't know how we got here, but
Speaking of your arteries clogging,
Okay.
speaking of you being able to feel your arteries clogging, do you want to watch an interesting video on? They put a camera down somebody's nose into their vocal folds, like to see what it looked like.
yeah.
And it was a dude that screams, and like his vocal cords like contort in this crazy looking way. Do you want to see that, or do you have no interest?
Yeah, sure. Are you gonna stream it?
Yeah, I gotta find it first. So talk to me about something else for a second.
Speaking of your arteries clogging, here's a video of a guy screaming and what his voice looks. What a great transition. We're becoming professional podcasters by the day. Just all around A+ transitions. Great quality here. Our video editing team is spectacular. We pay them nothing because they are us.
You're gonna come over here.
Swap. Is this on YouTube? You found this? Like, what kind of fucking YouTube videos are you watching?
Well, like I've recently been listening to this different band, and I also sometimes watch this channel that reacts to music, and they combine together, and so I was like, I need to watch this, and it was pretty interesting.
So is your end goal to be like a good screamer, or you just enjoy the content?
I just enjoy trying it. I think it's really interesting how they make sounds like that.
Okay, so I have a question then.
Mm-hmm.
Is screaming one of those things where you either have it or you don't, or it's one of those things you could work on and get really good at, or is it in between?
Probably somewhere in between. I think I could definitely be like wrong about this, but I think it's probably easier to learn how to scream than it is to learn how to sing. Does that make sense?
Okay. All right. That makes sense. I guess it's not as complicated. I guess in my mind, obviously I'm not.
Is it streaming the video right now? I can't see.
I can see the video. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if the sound's on.
What in the world?
It is for you, obviously, because you're streaming it. But there we go.
I've lost my mouse. Oh, there it is. Can you hear it?
Are the vallecula, the little spaces underneath that epiglottis.
Kevin?
Puff up your cheeks.
Yes, I can
for
hear
me.
it.
Okay.
Good. Go ahead and swallow really quick. I gave you so much numbing medicine.
All right.
You're not comfortable with the scope that close. But
Definitely not, but that's cool. We're out
something
here.
different.
How is he doing this with that thing in him? I'd be like,
I
get the
don't
fuck
know.
out of here.
Look at his vocal cords, though. All right, look at that.
Whoa.
They've gone like they've contorted. That is crazy. That's normal, and then they just.
That can't be good, can it?
No, it's fine.
It is?
Like this is I don't know if them contorting like that is what they're supposed to look like, but like this guy's like a professional. Like he could do this all day. You know what I'm saying?
Have you looked into the long-term effects of screamo? Like,
Yes, and there's like a proper way to do it and an improper way to do it. And as far as I know, he does this very properly.
and that will end up. So the improper technique will lead to what? Like
You
problems with
losing
your voice?
Yeah, your vocal cords will get fried basically.
And then proper technique that'll never happen, or it'll just fuck it up a little, or.
I mean, I'm sure it's like anything else. Like, I'm sure if, like, when you talk way too much, you start losing your voice. I'm sure it's similar to that.
Okay, I buy that.
So,
That's wild.
it's crazy. So it sounds this guy
Anything
makes
else?
it crazy too. Let me see.
You can sip with this in your mouth. We'll watch it as it goes down. Here's Will as he swallows ice cold water. Here it comes. Ah, there it's
I
gone.
didn't see anything.
God damn, it's like the scene from Stranger Things.
A little deep, little deep.
Okay, sorry.
You're good, All right.
I have, take your option. We have fries, tunnel vocals, tube and throat singing. This is Hellsound Goblin.
Oh, let's do tube and throat singing into a normal just scream. So.
Isn't that crazy looking? That's like normal.
I feel like this is rated R. I'm waiting for like an alien baby to come out of that thing. It's kind of wild he can do that with the camera.
Brendan,
Yeah.
I mean, I know they said they numbed it, but that's really interesting. That's wild.
Lost my mouse. Oh, there it is. All right.
It's really
Yeah.
weird. I would love to see your dad's reaction if he was like, if you're still at home and he walked by your computer. And you had, is that a pussy? What are you? Porn?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, Dad, actually, it's a guy throat singing. They put a camera down his throat. He's like,
But
that way my son would be normal.
that is so bizarre. I mean, just your vocal folds in general look bizarre. They kind of look like a vagina.
Yeah,
and
they
then
do.
and then his
weird.
just go.
Yeah, they just contort. Yeah, it's strange. That's pretty cool though.
Yep. I thought you might find that kind of interesting, being a doctor. Someday.
Not a doctor.
Someday, doctor.
Maybe one day when I'm old and wise. Actually, I submitted all my applications last.
Oh.
Well, I submitted my last application last week. I've submitted not three applications, but 3 application services, which a total of 20 schools, a little over 20 schools.
So you've applied to 20 schools, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, over 20, but yeah,
Cool.
it cost me $1,200.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They're just really out to get your money the whole way through, aren't they?
Oh yeah, this is a fucking racket, man. But the one thing I have learned from this entire experience of applying to med school is like you either play the game or you don't, which is like if you want to be in it, you play the game. If you don't want to be in it, then don't play the game. Like if you want to be a doctor, you got to play this game, and if you don't want to, too fucking bad. You're not going to be a doctor. So
That's terrible.
I mean, it's good and bad, Like at a certain point, you got to put people through something, right? Like you got to know that they want to do it. But
I mean, like,
it is
yeah,
becoming
but I feel like the schooling itself should be that.
right. I think a rigorous application process is good enough, but there's also just this added like game to it where it's like,
Yeah, I don't
okay,
think
first of all,
it should
pay
be
all this fucking money because we got to make $1 bajillion.
right. I don't think it should be based on finances at all.
Right. I mean, they got waivers. Like, you can get application waivers, but it's, like, first of all, I would never qualify for that. And 2, even if you do that, like, every school also has a supplemental. So I'm going to end up paying, like, another $1,200.
For what?
Second application. So, like, you fill out a primary application through an application service, and then they send that out to the schools.
And they're like, oh, yeah, we might look at you. Send us an application.
Basically, yeah, like, they'll receive the application and they supposedly, I'm doing air quotes, review your primary application and then decide if you're a good enough applicant, they'll send you a secondary application. So an application made by the school. Now, that's the theory. What I actually think happens, because this is all a big fucking racket, is they just, as soon as they get a primary from somebody, they automatically send the secondary, even if they're not a good applicant that probably won't get in, because they're like, oh, it's a free $100.
Oh, you think so?
I think so. Like, I've gotten secondaries from schools I probably shouldn't get secondaries from.
Bunch of scumbags!
But yeah, like I was doing the math on one school that gets like they got like 10,000 applications last year, and their application was like $120 or something. So you do the math, it's like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Just in the secondary applications alone.
I mean, part of that goes into paying the people that are looking, but
Right.
surely it doesn't take millions of dollars to pay these people.
I don't know. I mean, med school in general is crazy expensive. Like $60,000 a year, I'll probably end up paying.
I mean, maybe it does. I mean, presumably the people looking at your application are doctors themselves, right?
No.
No? Who is
Some
it?
are, some aren't.
Just Juanita?
So I talked to an admissions committee member for a school in Dallas, because it's one of the few schools that let me sign up for one-on-one counseling. Because that's another big thing is you do all this, and then if you don't get in, then you don't get any feedback. They literally send you an email like, "Sorry you didn't get in. Please do not contact us. We can't help you." It's basically what the email says.
Yeah.
But this is one of the few schools that had like sign up. So like I was refreshing the page, like getting concert tickets, trying to get a spot.
Right.
But anyway, I talked to that guy, and then I looked him up online after I booked my thing, and he just had a master's in education. So
Wow.
yeah, I don't know what that guy has to do with med school, but he's on the admissions committee.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you'd want only doctors. You got to have some other, it can't all be the same mind judging people, right? Like if you want to have a diverse group of doctors, you have to have a group of diverse people
I mean, you
judging them. But I also don't know like what a master's in education has to do with.
people themselves are diverse. You're not going to have any one in the same doctor. So as long as you have multiple doctors looking at something, you're going to have different opinions. It's not like just because you're a doctor, you now have the same opinion as every other doctor.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to think of a way. Maybe there's too many doctors with too many other things, to do than review
Better things
admissions
to do.
letters. Right, being fucking doctors. I
don't
mean,
know, if you're paying me millions of dollars, I'd go ahead and do it.
like up to this point of trying to get into medical school, I've only had interactions with 2 doctors, and they've both been shadowing experiences. So like going in and shadowing. Not a single one has been involved in my education. Like I had to meet with a committee in undergrad of professors, who would review my application to get an HPAC letter, which is a committee letter. Basically, those professors get together and they write me a recommendation letter if they think I'm a good applicant to medical school.
Right.
And during the whole process, they were super critical. Like they were looking over every little piece. I mean, it was famous. Like kids would come back from those meetings crying, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Oh, they told me I wasn't good enough." Blah 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 blah. Right? Not a single one of those people went to medical school. They're judging us harshly on our applications material to get into a school that none of them went to. So it's just weird. Like I think part like what you said is true. I think the doctors got too many good things or too many other things to do, better things to do than help these undergrads get into med school. It's just weird that like you do this whole thing and you don't really talk to a doctor ever about getting into medical school. Like you do it to get exposure to the practice, right, to the field, but you never talk to one to get in. So I don't know. I don't like it, but as soon as I get in, I don't have to worry about it anymore. So fuck it, whatever. I'll do whatever I got to do till I'm in. I could talk about this for hours, but whatever.
We only have one.
We only have 8 hours, and we don't want to spend the whole time
So,
about me bitching.
What was the topic you wanted to talk about?
Oh, okay. So I had numerous topics. So let me just give you a rundown of my weekend. All right.
Hit me.
So this weekend was perfect weather. It was 2 to 3 foot swells, and I texted Dad on like Friday or Thursday, like, "Hey, we're going snapper fishing. It's Father's Day weekend today. It's Father's Day today. It was Father's Day weekend." And he's like, "Yeah, let's go." So I drove down there Friday. We got all the shit ready. And then Saturday morning, 6 o'clock, we go out fishing. We go red snapper fishing is a better way to give a more detailed description. So we go to our offshore spot. We catch our fish, come back, clean them. My mom makes fish tacos. I eat cookie cake, fucking watch Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm like, best day fucking ever.
I've heard that
day.
show is garbage.
It is actually not good, but I do enjoy Star Wars, so I was like, and I was already in a good mood, so fuck it. I went swimming in the pool, fucking watched some TV, ate some fish tacos. I was fucking killing it. Fresh red snapper fish tacos. Oh my god. Okay. Anyway, so that was what happened on the fishing trip. Now, the topic that I kind of want to talk about is more broad, and like this, what I'll tell you in a second is what prompted this broad overarching prompt, which is the death of recreational fishermen. Now, let me give a little bit of context here. Throughout that story of the day, right? Like I just gave you a rundown of Saturday, but here's what prompted this thought, and me bringing it up in the podcast. So, wake up at 6, go to the boat ramp. First of all, boat ramp's full, but it's not like super busy. Like there's a fucking bunch of people everywhere. It's just that boat ramp down the street from my house isn't a very big parking lot, and there's mostly inshore boats putting in, so it wasn't a big fucking. We get out, we got to get bait. So we stop at marker 37, which is like a big spot. Like there's a boat ramp there. It's just a spot in Corpus on the island. And there's fucking 30 boats, man. Excuse me. And all of them are guides. There is not one that is a recreational fisherman. They're all guides. They all got fucking labeled Yeti coolers. They all got the guide look, and they all have clients that look like clients. Those fuckers that are looking around like what's going on. There's a guy wearing a fucking polo shirt.
White sunscreen.
So we pull up to our spot and we go get the bait. And I'm just sitting there watching all these guides. And I'm like, man, if you think about it, this is a guide putting these fucking idiots on fish. This is 2 redfish and 2 trout, like minimum for every single person on this, right? Like I would expect that to be the minimum of somebody paying for a trip, right?
What I've seen is a lot of black drum and specks. Not a ton of redfish.
Okay,
But continue.
sure. And that might be your experience. I'm just seeing a lot of reds and trout in general. But that's also like, this is in the morning, and I'm not talking about this instance specifically. I'm talking about isolated incidences of running into guides and seeing pictures and stuff.
Right.
I'm not talking about like overall, like I just showed up and there's fucking 30 redfish.
Mostly I'm talking about pictures from the guide that me and you know.
All right. So, yeah, I'm not trying to make a gross generalization for all guides. I'm just spotting the trends, right?
Sure.
Okay, so we get our bait, and there's all these fucking guides in their flats boats. Just so many guides. More guides than I've ever seen in one place in my life other than a tournament. And this is just a regular Saturday. Okay. So then we get out, we go out of Packery. And to be honest, as far as like offshore fishing days go, it wasn't the busiest day I've ever seen. Now, we drive out to our spot. Now we get to our spot and there's nobody on it because this particular spot has a sister spot about 2 miles away. And we can see the sister spot with like 8 boats on it. But the spot we're at right now is a good spot and nobody's on it. We're like, oh, that's weird. And then we come to find out why. The spot has been fished out. We can't catch a fish. We caught a fish and it was super undersized. And, you know, a few years ago, back in the day, it was even more drastic. But even a few years ago, we were catching good-sized fish on that spot. And, you know, when I was younger, the snapper season was just now coming back. Like, they just had opened the snapper season. Like, the snapper season went from a few days to, like, a week every year to now it's basically the whole summer, which is a whole nother topic that, like, we can talk about later. But so we're like, all right, well, we can't catch any fish here because this spot has been fished out, a good spot that we've had for years. Let's go to the sister spot, which is also a good spot, but not as good as the spot, you know, previously as good as the spot as we were on. So we go to the sister spot. And wouldn't you know it, all of the boats sitting on that spot are guides. They got the fucking wrapped boats. They got the clients. They've got the, you know, I can tell because they've got first mates and the captain's driving. The first mate's not fishing. He's just rigging other people's stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I have found where the fish have gone. All these fucking guides. There was maybe like 1 or 2 recreational fishermen. And it was a good mix of like flats boats that just braved the fucking swells to get there and like big ass boats and then boats like us, you know, in the middle.
Yeah.
And then we were fishing, and the way you fish red snappers, they're on a small spot, right? They're on a wreck or a rig or something like that. So you drift over the spot because the current will push you over. So you drop your line, you fish over the spot, and then when you drift past the spot, you reel up or you cut your fish and you go back and restart. Now, these fucking guides have 2 main tactics. One is if they have a trolling motor, is they set their trolling motor up and just stay in the spot the whole time, fucking everybody else up that's trying to drift through.
I got a spot.
Because everyone else is trying to drift through. The other is just being a total dick and taking your boat and driving in front of people, like what happened to us. Like we were setting up to a spot and this big fucking boat cut us off and he wouldn't even look at us. Like Dad was trying to be more calm and not so like freaking out on people. Meanwhile, I'm the opposite. I'm freaking out even more now. But he was still like trying to be like, hey, you know, fucking watch it, you know, and the guy wouldn't even look. And his fucking first mate waved at us and I was like, oh my God, I'm so pissed. So anyway, we fished that spot, and you know people are bad at fishing when it takes them too long to catch their limit, because on a good day we can catch our red snapper limit in like 3 or 4 passes, you know?
Yeah.
Now we start fishing, and it's relatively speaking bad fishing. We're not catching a lot of keepers, and we're not catching a lot. But we just grinded out over a few hours, and we caught our limit of red snappers. We had some decent-sized ones and some closer to the limit, and, you know, we didn't have any hogs, you know? We might have had 1 hog, but it's not like what it used to be. But we caught our fish, we got out of there, we got home. And sure enough, driving back through the canals and everything, there's just fucking guides everywhere. There's 8 guides at Clem's cleaning their fish right there while their clients stand around and drink beer. And I was like, I was thinking to myself while we are putting the boat up and driving back to the house and everything, I was like, compared to when I was younger, like in high school or junior high, and Dad and I would do this, there'd be like a guide every once in a while. There'd be another recreational fisherman doing the same shit as you, but it wasn't as near as busy, which is a whole separate issue. It's just it's just busier, which is, that's what's gonna happen. Gotta accept it. But there was a lot more just regular ass Joes out there back in my day, back when I was younger, and now it's like all commercial guys. And Dad and I were talking about it, and he said even with all those guides out there, they couldn't have outfished a spot. That was a fucking charter boat. Charter boat came out, put 80 people on a spot, and you could fish it out in an afternoon.
Could be.
And I was thinking to myself, I wonder if we're trending towards the death of the recreational fisherman, where it's like the only way to go fishing, and maybe it's not just because it's a law, like they have to be captains, but like it's just a trend towards people, paying other people to go fishing or hunting or any of this shit, where like there will come a day where say it again.
They want to take the easy way out. Like
I guess
they want it easily. They want to be shown everything.
I guess I can't explain what's behind the trend because there's more people in Corpus than ever. Yet I'm not seeing a whole lot of growth in the recreational department. Right?
Well, I think
I'm seeing a fuck ton more guides, but
I think it's just a disconnect that we're experiencing, like between people and outdoor activities, like specifically like fishing and hunting. There's not as many people doing it. People can't do it as often because of their jobs and other hobbies that they have, and so they have to pay somebody to show them how to do it or take them to the good spot so that they can have success at it.
Okay, so are you saying you agree with my hypothesis? I'm just going to call this an hypothesis because I don't know for sure and I can't explain the theory behind it. I just have this feeling, and I can't say all the evidence points to that exactly. I'm just saying this is a feeling I'm getting from what I see and just my, my interpretation of my surroundings is that the recreational fisherman is slowly starting to die out, and one day everything will have to be done via a middleman. Like corporations are buying big ranches, you'll have to pay the corporation to shoot a deer. All these guides have $80,000 boats. They got the nice rods. They got all the spaces. They hog all the fucking space in the world. They yell at you if you try to fish on their spot in quotations. They got all the money. They got all the fancy gear just for fishing. I don't see as many people like us as I used to,
I think it's just getting harder to be the average, we'll just say outdoorsman. It's getting harder to be the average outdoorsman, and you're going to have to work harder and find more difficult spots to get to than in the past.
Right, because I was talking to Dad. I was like, this spot we're at is 23 miles out, which used to be like the frontier. Like if you described our little part of the ocean, like are out of Packery, let's just say out to 60 miles outside of Packery Channel. Like you'd go 20 something miles out, that'd be the frontier. Yeah. We were pulling hogs. I'm talking about world class red snapper. Like the fucking pictures you see on Instagram of the guides in Venice, Louisiana or Florida pulling up these big fucking red snapper. We were doing the same shit. We just weren't posting it because we're not fucking idiots. We were pulling out trophies, man. I can remember cleaning fucking redfish the size of my torso, red snapper. And we're out there, and this was 20 miles out, 23 miles out. And now we're out there fucking rubbing elbows with people trying to catch just legal fish. And now I'm thinking, okay, we've got spots 30 miles out. We've got spots 40 miles out. How far do we have to go to get what we've lost, Yeah. And I don't know if it's never going to be the same, obviously. I just don't know, like, where, and this might be a specific problem to red snapper because I think they've also opened this season too much. I don't know what fucking counts the government's doing, but they're all bullshit because the snapper are definitely less in number and smaller in size compared to where they used to be. I mean, we can't go from fucking 3 days to a week to the whole goddamn summer and expect it to be the same as a healthy population, if that's what it takes. That's what put the red snapper, out of our reach in the first place. That's why they closed the season. But anyway, I digress. I think a similar trend is being seen inshore as well and offshore for other species. It just might be, exaggerating the red snapper because that's such a prized fish, especially where we live. I'm just using this as an example, a model of my hypothesis.
I mean, and it's also a relatively easy fish, right? I mean, you
relatively
have to
easy to
get
catch,
out there in a boat. That's the hard part. Other than that, you drop a lure or you drop your bait down, and you might have to jig it. A lot of times, you get a fish before it gets down to depth. You reel it up.
Right.
So
you probably would jig it, especially depending on what kind of weather you were having. I mean, I was jigging it to catch it because it wasn't working otherwise. But I would say the barrier to fishing red snapper is not that high if you have the means to get out there and you know the spots. Right. With those two things, you'll catch red snapper. And obviously, getting out there isn't that hard on a good day when it's only 20-something miles out. It's not that far. And knowing the spots, well, at this point, all of the good spots, everyone fucking knows. And you can just stop. I mean, I told you about, I don't know if it was last year, a couple years ago, the fucker just following us out to the spot. Mm-hmm. Like, we literally stopped at a spot, and he was driving away, turned around, and came back. Like, you just see the boat sitting on spots now. Like, back in the day, you wouldn't see a fucking soul, and now there's 20 boats on the spot.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just feel like that's, maybe exaggerated, but a trend you're seeing for all, not even fishing, just outdoors in general. Like, I don't know, man.
I think you're probably seeing this trend more because it's on Padre Island, which is also increasing in size. So this is just part of what happens when a city grows. You get more tourists because it's a tourist destination, right? So you get more tourists, and with these more tourists, there's more demand for people to show these tourists a good time, and that's what you're experiencing, I think. Methinks.
I do think that's true, but I also think I'm seeing the same thing on social media. It's like every fucking picture of a big fish, they put it at the end. It's Captain whatever guides this boat in this fucking city. Like, I just, the recreational fisherman is not the man. He's not the, like the Marlboro man. The guy was like the cool shit that smoked cigarettes in the commercials, got everybody smoke. Yeah. That's what the recreational fisherman was like when I was young. And I feel like now that's the guides. Like, the guides are the ones posting cool shits. Like, they post their clients catching big fish or shooting ducks and stuff. Like, your brother's a great example, man. Your brother's got the Instagram of a guide, but he's just a regular recreational guy like us.
But you know why it looks like that is because he's out in the hard-to-get places.
Yes, I agree. He is in the hard-to-get places. I agree. He does work hard to get the things he does post. But just from an outsider's point of view, let's just say, like, if you were just scrolling, I think today you would say that's a guide. Whereas when we were kids, you'd be like, oh, that's fucking Joe Schmo.
That's a dude who knows
He's killing it, right? Right. But now you scroll through, people like that 90% of the time are guides, man. You know what? And if you want to go do that, you got to pay me $1,000. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm building up in my head and getting upset about it now, which it'll probably get worse in the future. I just don't want to see the day where I'm out there fishing with my son or my friends or my dad, and I'm surrounded by guides who feel entitled to the resource because that's their living, and they just start squeezing recreational fishermen out. Mm-hmm. Like, let's just say this is not an example I'm saying will happen. This is just analogous to the overarching issue. But let's just say bait is $10, right?
Right.
And the guide passes that $10 cost to the client. So he puts the extra $10 in the client's fee, right? So I pay you $1,000. It's $1,010, let's just say. I, the recreational fisherman, pay $10 for the bait. The way the economics for this could work is one day the bait's $200. The guide passes that on to the client. Nobody cares. This is just the game. The client has to pay the fee to catch the fish. The guy doesn't care how much the bait costs. They're willing to pay whatever. So that could artificially jack up bait prices, right? If I can charge whatever I want for bait, I'm not using this specifically for bait, by the way. This is just analogous for
sure
the overarching issue, like I said.
Just an example.
the guy can afford to pay $200 bait because he's passing on the client. Client doesn't give a fuck because he's paying $2,000 to catch a fish anyway. The guy selling the bait's like, oh, I can charge more for the bait. It will come a day where the bait's so much money the recreational fisherman can't afford to pay for the bait. But you know who can is the guy because he's just passing that cost off to the guy who's already willing to pay thousands of dollars to catch fish. And I don't know what this analogy is for. Is it for licenses? Is it for fucking actual bait? Is it for boats? Is it for access? I don't know. Permits? Your fishing license? Like I
think that's
I just
true.
don't understand how this is sustainable.
I think that's true for a big and or growing city. Like you're not gonna find that in Seadrift, Like I said earlier, for now, yeah. I mean, population's always growing, but yeah, I think you're really seeing that right now in Corpus, and you're extra exposed to that.
Yeah, and I don't even know if this will happen in our lifetimes. My into the world hypothesis. This could be my kids' lifetimes or their kids' lifetimes, where it's like if you want to do something, you have to pay somebody to take you to do it. Like the world of professionals, like every single activity has a job, and if you're not employed in that, like for example, in my head, we're trending towards gun ownership is only allowed by a certain group, like law enforcement, for example. Which means if you're not law enforcement, you can't have a gun. I'm not saying this is going to happen. It's just an exaggeration. But like, if you're not a cop, which means you're not employed to have a gun, you can't have a gun. If you're not a guide, you can't go fishing or you can't go hunting or you can't do it in these specific areas.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
I don't know. I don't think the water's ever going to be privatized, but it's sort of happening already with ranches and shit. These big corporations buy ranches.
Sure, but I mean, there's always public lands.
Right, but what if one day the public land is sold to private corporations? Then we're all fucked. Like
there are people that want to do that. There are in Texas. There are politicians that want to do that.
Or they say if you want to hunt public land, you have to be with a guide. You have to be with a licensed guide or something.
And they have that in places like Alaska. It's to protect the hunter, really, but it's also.
But you see how that can be skewed to like. Yeah, like in Wyoming or something, they have a certain percentage of the tags go to guides automatically.
Right.
Like it's not even you're not even in the pool. Even if you live in the fucking state, you're not in the pool for those tags. Like stuff like that. I don't know.
It's shady.
Yeah, it's shady to me. So that's what I wanted to talk about. That was one of the topics I wanted to talk about. And I was interested in your take on, which I agree. I had knowingly said this I said this knowing that this was being exaggerated in my head, but I agree with what you said. I think part of the problem is being in Corpus right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. The social media thing and like people you talk to, like I don't run into a whole lot of guys that do fishing and hunting in general, to be honest.
I think it's growing in popularity though because of outlets like Meat Eater being more popular. Like it's growing in popularity, and I think this is making people want to try hunting and fishing more, and hence making guides more necessary for a lot of people.
That could be true.
I think we're seeing an upward trend in outdoor enthusiasm.
Which, being a super selfish person I am, I'm like, fuck that. I want it all to myself. I want the fishing and hunting outdoors world of my youth where it was like you were weird if you like doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But
it
everybody has a right. Everybody has an equal right to it. If I'm going to complain about the guides, saying this is my fucking area, you can't hunt here, you can't fish here, because this is my living, it would be super hypocritical of me to say I don't want any of these other people hunting and fishing who have the same rights I do. But,
it's true.
So that's actually how I feel about it. But sort of jokingly, I'm like, fuck, I wish less people wanted to do it.
Yeah. But it's a trend. Duck Dynasty happened. Everybody wanted to duck hunt. It's all a trend.
Everything's a cycle, man. It goes around, comes around.
It's
the
all
fucking economy
cycle,
boom,
man.
We're about to have a recession. It's how it goes.
Yep.
Oh man. The second thing I wanted to talk about is, dude, I've been watching the fucking fishing channel like crazy.
Okay, hold up.
Mark's fishing channel.
Hi, Caleb. Welcome to the conversation.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I just fucking went
All
off.
right, go ahead. Mark.
Mark's
The guy-
fishing channel.
The guy in the
24
canoe.
H&H. It's a
He's on
paddleboard,
a
man.
paddleboard.
Or a
Dude.
paddleboard.
I now have the desire, or what's a better way to phrase this? I have this picture in my head of where I want to be, and
And that's it.
part of that picture is like the hobbies I want to do,
Yeah.
like the things I want to do with my life. And before, this wasn't part of it, but I am now all in on paddleboarding these shallow water spots and trying to catch some monster fucking reds with a bait caster, bro. I am all about that. Like,
That's good.
I fucking had a mental picture of me coming around the corner in my fucking stoner with my paddleboard in there, getting to a spot you can't get to.
No. Hey,
Fucking
hold
park
up.
my boat, get my paddleboard out.
You messed
What?
up a little bit.
What?
We are coming around.
We.
Stoner.
I mean, I fucking assuming you don't live in the goddamn Alaska where
And you
the hell
shut
you
your
moving
dirty
to.
mouth.
I like before it was basically like duck hunting, deer hunting, offshore fishing, inshore fishing, but not this kind of inshore fishing. But now, dude, I'm fucking looking at paddle boards already.
No, they're
I'm like, what's the
expensive.
best setup for my paddleboard? Do I want the chair or do I want the cooler? Well, I sit on the cooler, but that'll hurt my back. Like I'm doing that thing already.
You gotta get like a cooler with a backrest.
That's what I was thinking.
You know what it is? One of those seats that they use in the bleachers.
Oh my god, I'm not even kidding. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna jimmy rig. I was gonna get a cooler and then jimmy rig one of those seats with the bleachers with like the
screw it
stretchy back
down.
material, and then put that fucking and then sit on there and sit with my bait caster.
Man.
That's another thing, dude. I'm full bait caster. I was talking to Dad,
Yeah.
who's obviously a much better fisherman. Actually, we can get into this debate right now. It's not really a debate, like this conversation with bait caster versus spinning rod, because
Sure.
we were talking about this off podcast. And he's a bait caster user, pretty avid one. And I was like, okay, so in your opinion, what are the advantages to doing it? And besides the general stuff, which you and I probably already came to our conclusion, which was it's just more accurate and he can get more control over it. He said, first thing is bait casters way better for fishing off the bottom and walking the dog, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he says he's got a lot more feel with it, so he can feel on the bottom, he can walk it along the bottom. He said, fucking, if I was hardcore inshore fishing every day, I'd have 2 setups.
Okay,
My
hold
setup would
up.
be-
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Why can he feel more with it? Like, like, I
He says
know
it's
what
more
he
sensitive.
means, but
He says it's more sensitive.
where
he said
is
the
he
tip
feeling
of the
it?
rod holder is more sensitive in his hand.
why?
I don't.
That doesn't make any sense. Like, I've heard that before. Like, it's you can feel more with it, right? But I don't understand why.
It must be some way the action of the rod itself. Like, it kind of makes sense, kind of doesn't make sense. Like when I think of the bait caster and the way it works versus the spinning rod, I'm like, it could kind of make sense how you could get more feel out of it.
It does not make more sense to me.
It's just like you've got more direct contact with the line in the bait caster.
Like, the way
than
that
you
I
do with
get
the
more
spinning rod.
feel with a spinning rod is I like place a finger on my line. But hold up. I'll be right back.
Is he about to go
He's probably about to go grab a rod.
cast it down the hallway,
He just casts it in his backyard.
reeling it to his couch?
I have a bait caster in my hands now. Like I guess I can kind of see, like, you can place your thumb on the line a little bit, like right where you're reeling. I can kind of see it. Anyways, what are the next things? I'm keeping this next to me now.
Well, okay. Let me just say this. He said if I was going to hardcore fish, I'd go out with 2 setups. I'd go out with a spinning rod with a pop cork on it, and then I would go out with a bait caster with a small, bait on the end, right? Like no jig or anything.
Mhm.
Kind of like the setup, well, like a jig, but not like any kind of leader or waiter, like what we were using the other day.
Just a little jig head with a soft
Right.
plastic on it.
With some kind of soft plastic, yes. And I said, okay, so what would you do? What would you grab? He said, okay, first of all, if there's any wind and I'm fishing into the wind, I'm using the bait caster immediately. I'm using the spinning rod, immediately, not the bait caster. I can't get the bait caster. I can't get the artificial into the spots I want to, throwing it into the wind because it's not heavy enough. And I said, all right, so let's just say calm day, and
Wait,
you're trying
I'm
to figure
sorry,
out
I'm
a
sorry.
spot.
He's
Yeah.
he's throwing on a windy day. He's throwing the spinning reel with
Yes.
the popping cork.
Yes.
Okay.
And I said, okay, let's say the wind, it's either with you or it's, a calmer day. He's like, all right. What I would probably do is I'd grab the bait caster because I prefer that, and I'd figure out the spot. So, assuming we're, fishing in something a little higher than ankle high, right? Like, let's say we're on the boat and we're fishing the King Ranch shoreline, which is above head high water.
Okay.
Probably chest high of the spots that we're drifting to at the end of our drift. He'd say, all right, I'd grab the bait caster. I'd fish the bottom. I'd jig the bottom, right? I'd wait till I can feel my bait on the bottom, start jigging it across the bottom of the floor.
Yeah.
And I'd stick with that if it was working, right? I'd also open to making changes, but basically, I like to feel. He even said I can't walk the dog with a spinning rod. I can only do it with my bait caster.
I can
was
walk
like,
the dog like a mother trucker.
Interesting. I said, all right. But yeah, that was his 2 cents, and that guy's caught more inshore fish, while I'm with a person, right? Because I don't fish with Matt all the fucking time.
Right.
But he's caught more fish than anybody I know. I've been inshore fishing. So I don't know. He's also the only one I know that uses a bait caster regularly, I guess. I mean, no, maybe he's the only one I know that uses a bait caster. Anyway, point is, that was his 2 cents on the issue. And he also said something interesting, which was he casts with his left hand and reels with his right hand, even though he's right-handed. And I said, okay, two things. One, so if I'm right-handed and I have a right-handed bait caster, right, like I'm reeling with my right hand, it's improper form to put it in my right hand, cast, put it back into my left hand, and reel with my right hand. He said, yes. You should cast with your left hand and reel with your right hand. I was like, all right, well, first of all, I got to learn how to cast with my left hand because I'm fucking a loser with this left hand. And then I said, okay, well, what if I was right-handed and I had a left-handed reeling bait caster? Have I been saying spinning rod the whole time? I've meant bait caster this whole
I
time.
don't think
Have
so.
been?
I think you've been right.
So what if I had a left-handed reeling bait caster, which means I cast in my right hand and I reel with my left hand? He said, no, that's still improper. What you should do is use a right-handed spinning, right-handed reeling bait caster and cast with your left hand. I said,
why can't you swap it?
Interesting. He said that's a waste of time.
Why?
He said you should just be proficient at using your left hand.
Why? Just because?
He said it's a waste of time.
Because of tradition?
No, he just said that's a waste of motion, putting it in your right hand and putting it back in your left hand.
Wait, if you have a left-handed bait caster, you throw with...
Oh, okay, so I gave you 2 scenarios. The first scenario makes sense to you. That's just a waste of fucking motion. Like, you shouldn't have to switch hands every time.
Right.
The other one, I agree with you. It makes sense from, like, a practical standpoint, especially since that a right-handed person would reel
with their left hand.
with the left hand in the spinning reel. So
you're just mirroring, you're just
Go
mirroring
ahead.
the proper way to do it with the left hand.
Right. Which, for that, I don't know why. He just said that was dumb.
I think it's just dumb because it breaks tradition.
Maybe so. Maybe you should just... I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. I'm not proficient enough in a baitcaster to form my own opinions. I need some time with it before.
I am ignorant enough to form my own ignorant opinions.
Maybe after a few years of using them, and maybe I'll try both and see what I like, and then I'll be informed enough. I mean, shit, I kind of want to learn. I was talking to Dad about it. I was like, I know it's kind of hipster to say this, but I wouldn't mind learning how to fly fish, like on a calm day on a paddleboard in some shallow water with a fly rod.
Oh, for sure.
That doesn't sound like a bad. That doesn't sound like a bad day, to be honest.
Sounds like good living to me.
Okay, this only sparked up because we saw that show, but I agree. It does sound really fun.
What show?
Or movie, I mean. What was the movie called?
A river runs through it. Here, let me pull it up.
Yeah.
Oh. Are you streaming, Caleb? Is that something I need to...
Oh, yeah. Can you, Caleb, you want to be
Oh, yeah, sure.
resident puller-upper?
Our resident Jamie?
Yeah. This is a movie we watched
Sorry, I had to close that tab. I was watching the Boondocks.
while we were in Corpus.
What was it called?
A river runs through it.
This has the
This
what's his name? in
Runs through
Brad
it?
Pitt.
it?
Yeah. This is basically
That's
a
everything.
movie
Fly
about
fishing scene, like a super dark one.
Just don't give us
Kind
too much.
Yeah, just find a clip and then click on the highlight. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Put your cursor on the screen. Down like on the line, sorry, and it'll show you the most watched section of that video.
Wait, put a.
Yep. So, and you see that kind of clear bar right above it? That shows you the most watched section of the video. And that'll give you a good idea.
Oh, I see the
Yeah,
wavy one.
Yeah.
Most replay, yeah. I think this is where he's showing his technique.
That seems cool.
That would be really cool on a paddleboard.
And to catch something while doing it, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point, isn't
That's awesome.
it? Just
Like,
out there
it's
throwing a fly rod with no fly on the end. Like, I
Yeah.
just like doing this motion with my body.
We ain't doing Tai Chi out there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's all done. That's what's up.
yeah, I don't know. I would like to learn how to do it, but I'm definitely going to get into it. There's something to it. I liked it, honestly, after using it. I liked it more, even with
Baitcasters?
technique. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's got to, I believe what Dad said. I just think I need my own experience to inform my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a reason Mark from Mark's Fishing Channel is using a baitcaster, okay?
I'm sure there is.
I trust that guy too.
Listen,
He's catching some fucking hogs.
I am holding in my hands an Abu Garcia baitcaster that I plan on putting some braided line on and using.
Just thinking about the baitcaster, like I've never fished with one, but when we were throwing it around in your backyard, it was more convenient. It made more sense.
I
Like
don't know if I'd go that far.
you don't have to reel it back, lock it
I don't
in
know if it's
place,
more
cast it
convenient.
out. It just seemed convenient to me.
Maybe once you get the technique down, it's a more fluid motion.
Yeah, maybe.
Especially if you can, cast in one hand, you don't have to fucking switch it. I just have to practice my left hand. That's it. I could try to get I just don't have the money to buy fucking new rods.
I just don't think you'll ever be as good with your left hand as your right.
I don't know. My dad uses his left and he's right-handed.
But maybe he started that way.
Probably.
Like you've got, how old are you? 24?
23.
23 years of experience using your right hand.
Yeah, that is true. I don't even know how to fly fish. Are you going to cast with your right hand and then put it back into your left fly fishing? You can't do that.
I don't think so. I think
You're going to cast with your left.
No, I think you cast with your right and you reel with your left. It's like a spinning rod.
I have the rod in left hand, right hand over the left hand, and I cast with both hands, and then I let go of my right hand, or my left hand.
Yeah, this
So
guy's
reel.
casting in the right hand and reeling with the left hand.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. I can try both and see what I like. One day I'll have money and I can buy reels and shit and just try it out.
Sure, why not?
I mean, shit, you got to geek out on something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be better than whatever 30-something-year-old losers are into. Which is, in my definition, anyone that doesn't fish and hunt.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So, did you have another thing you wanted to talk about? You said you had many things.
Those are the two main things I want to talk about. I mean, I'm really hyped about the inshore fishing with paddleboard in shallow water places that people can get to. Because that also combats my first issue. Like, that's a direct remedy to the first problem I brought up.
Did you notice how much of like a budget fisherman he is too?
Yeah, well,
Like he's
he
not
shows
sitting on
his
a Yeti
house.
cooler.
Yeah, I know. I saw his setup. Like, he's sitting on a janky ass fucking chair.
He's got a
He's using a PVC pipe.
rod holder.
Yeah, he's got a nice. I mean, he's got a nice rod and reel. He knows where to spend his money. He's just not like these fucking
That
Instagram bitches with $1,000 paddleboards.
that jig head he's been using for months. The same one. This
If
is
it ain't
this
broke,
is
don't
a,
fix it.
This is a budget
That's just
everyman fisherman. And I dig it.
Well, that's what I like to see. That's part of what I was talking about earlier. One of the few guys that's the regular everyday fisherman. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm sure if I type paddleboard, redfish fishing on YouTube right now, 80 fucking guides are gonna pop up, and then people like Mark are gonna be like spread in between. You know, or even professional YouTube fishermen or whatever the hell they are. Which I totally would be, to be honest. I'm not
Sponsored,
gonna judge them.
sponsored fisherman.
Right. If I had fucking like the Googans or something, like if I had that much money, I would be doing that too.
Most of those
Not gonna
dudes
lie.
annoy me significantly.
They annoy the shit out of me, but I'm kind of jealous because I would love to get paid to go hunting and fishing and stuff.
Yeah.
The
I think
Googan?
I think
I would
those
too,
people
but-
specifically are fucking
Let me
losers.
see
But
this. The Googans. Googan squad?
Yeah. Dan says they actually have pretty good artificials.
Who?
Dan,
Oh.
Thomas's dad. They use them for bass
Well,
fishing.
they look like they have more money than they know what to do with.
They do. They're pretty big. Well, I don't know. I can't think of any like one individual topic. I just like talking about fishing and complaining. Those are my two favorites.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I went to go leave. I went to go leave to get some food, and Whataburger's breakfast menu starts at 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. So you know what I got off the breakfast menu?
Oh, you did not. You still have some? I need to try a bite of that. fucking thing.
Spicy honey butter chicken biscuit.
Oh my god!
I got 3 of them, and it's still hot. I'll give you one.
You're not gonna give me a whole one.
Oh yeah.
That's way. I don't deserve that. Oh wait, I bought you dinner. Yeah, I deserve that.
Boys say, give me some of that.
Plus, I'll give you like $2.
Gimme.
I got.
Still feel the warmth.
You want?
You can still feel the warmth on top of them. They're like $3.
You want $4
They're
for it?
$3.
I'll give you $3. There you go.
Dude, eat that thing.
I just bought I just bought a biscuit for my roommate. Oh my god, I can see the peppers.
I should give him a napkin. The sauce is kind of
Oh my god.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Mm.
I was kind of glad you weren't asking me anything while I was eating it because yeah, it's not possible to talk while eating it.
Oh my god. This is so much better than the regular one.
Oh yeah, oh, hands down better.
I'm not even hungry. I'm shoving it down my throat.
It is so funny. I think it's because I've been shoving my body full of food lately, like eating at unorthodox times all the time, all day, just eating constantly. I wasn't even hungry when I was like, I'm gonna go get food, but I went and got food and I ate a whole biscuit, and I got another one sitting right next to me. I'll probably eat in a little bit, so that's nice.
Holy shit. I'm having a life-changing experience over here. Fuck me.
He took a bite and it's that bun, like stars are flying around him.
Oh man, guess what?
He's like looking into space. What?
So at my work, I've told y'all about like Jimmy, right?
Yeah, everyone knows Jimmy.
Sure, he's like the most experienced guy we have.
Oh, that okay. Yes.
Most experienced guy we have, always has a bad attitude. He quit.
Yeah, I think you told me.
No, I might have told you. Yeah, he quit on
Why
Friday.
did he quit?
I mean, he just hates his job. Is the real reason. Also,
That's a good
he like with gas prices, he drives 45 minutes to work every day, and he can't
Yikes.
make all the payments he needs to make on his stuff.
That dude's probably got to fill up
So
like 4
he's
times a week.
going back to the oil field. So he quit. I am going to be quitting in like 4 weeks, which they don't know yet, and that will leave three guys to do tree work. So they're screwed.
That sucks. Well, they should have more people set up to cut trees, though. I guess.
Been saying it for weeks.
Take their spots.
Years.
Yeah.
Months.
Well, based on how you explain their business and personal finances, I don't think people sound like the smartest business owners ever.
Who knows? Not me. What do I know about business? Not a
I
whole
don't-
lot.
I know I can judge from afar without any personal stake or knowledge in the topic.
I'm like, I know I can tell if they're doing a good job or not.
I know
I think I can
form a
tell
lot-
basic common sense.
I can form a lot of ignorant opinions. That should be the name of this podcast, Ignorant Opinions.
I don't.
Well-
Yeah, Neanderthals are good.
Music's playing now. We're at an hour and 40-something seconds.
I feel like I talked the whole time.
11:52 at the end of this. I need to go to bed because I
wanna talk
have
about-
work in the morning.
The chicken biscuit was delicious.
I went out. How long should I make it go? I just never really know. This is way too long at this point. Close the video. Oh, this is gonna be great. Okay, all right. We'll do the chorus now. In 3, 2, 1, go.